I mean, we haven't even dug into the numbers, but I just find this fascinating because you can kind of take these buildings for a lower price, and then these smaller towns tend to be a little easier about converting them.
I ask people to go look at commercial buildings and what they're selling for because there's, there's pretty darn good deals out there to be
Yeah.
looking for these types of commercial buildings.
Yeah, well, it's a friend of mine, it was the St. Thomas newspaper building. I don't know where it's at now or if he's finished, but I mean, years ago, he told me he
Yeah.
bought it and I like walked through the place with him. Huge building, and he got it for like 400 grand, like
Hmm.
monstrously big.
Hmm.
And then I don't know how many he's putting in it. I think he was putting 20 units in it. Welcome back to REI Hot Seat. Andrew Hines here with Jacob Campagnaro for another virtual
Hello.
session. I'm still in Florida, enjoying warm weather, and Jake, you're there. I'm
Hey
just
man,
kidding. It's
it's
getting
not
warmer at home
not
now.
not too bad today. I think it was 17 degrees and sunny, so
Yeah, yeah, it's almost getting warm enough for
I'm
me to come back.
gonna get out of
Anyways,
here and
today
get on a
we're
horse.
talking about an interesting deal. Jake gave me the preview. So this is a Simcoe property, and it is well, it's gutted, is it not, Jake?
Yeah, so the one we have today that I'm presenting here, so it's a property in Simcoe, Ontario, so not to be confused with Simcoe County. So Simcoe Town is southwestern or southwestern Ontario. You give it a Google, it's a good sized town. I actually um, have done quite a bit of work there in the past. Anyhow, so this property started life as a commercial office, and over the years, over the last couple of years, it was converted into a mixed use. Um, so what we have today essentially is an upstairs of 5 residential units, condo grade. I'll put some photos up on the screen here as we go if you want to do that.
Well, I'm
Uh,
gonna just show the street view just because I pulled it up. So that's with all the snow. It may look a bit different now. That's the Google Street View.
yeah.
But I'll pull that back off and you can share what you'd like, Jake.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it started life as the commercial office. It is currently 5 residential units. The main floor is in a bit of a project state. So what I mean by that is it's been gutted back to stud. So the main floor is basically blank canvas, but it does have permits and approvals to build additional residential units there that mirror the units above. And so we have all this documentation ready to go on it.
Yeah. And how many units is it now? Like how many res units is it now? And then how many
Five,
will it be?
five right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the building right now, I just have it up on my separate screen here. So existing as it sits right now, we have 5 residential units on the second floor of the building. Those are rented, occupied, and closed off permits. The main floor of the building has been gutted and it has permits and approvals for 3 additional residentials. And then it has 2 commercials on the main floor as well, street facing commercial units.
So those would be just looking at this street view again, would be the ones like the two closest to the road then?
That's correct.
Yeah, because there's a parking lot sort of on the side of it. So if you were to live here, would you have any parking, or would you just be like no parking? You can just walk down the
Yeah,
side.
so the building itself doesn't have parking.
Gotcha.
That parking lot actually belongs to the building beside it, but there is a municipal lot across the street, and we've looked into parking permits there. It's extremely affordable. So if you did need parking, you have a lot right across the street. You can get annual permits for it and park there.
Nice.
So
It's
yeah,
good. Good. Small towns are good for that. You can usually
exactly.
get parking in that kind of situation. This is an interesting kind of project because I actually know a guy who did a project just like this in St. Thomas, but a much bigger building.
Yeah,
But taking something that was commercial use and then switching it over. I mean, we haven't even dug into the numbers, but I just find this fascinating because you can kind of take these buildings for a lower price, and then these smaller towns tend to be a little easier about converting them. You do have to
correct.
go through some hoops, and obviously the commercial element, they wanted to keep that, right? You got to keep street facing commercial, but you can shrink it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah. So
and then you would have
and
had
the
to go through
way
like the environmental stuff and test the building and make sure it was suitable for residential use, right?
correct. Yeah. So there's gonna be a couple different things you have to do. But this building in particular did have as of right zoning. So
Like
the
a mixed use zoning.
it was a mix. So it's a mixed use zoning, which a lot of small towns have. Downtown corridor zoning, mixed use zoning. You could just look it up. And the way most of them are written, this is very general. Please don't take this as advice and go do it. But most of them are written as you need ground floor retail commercial, but it only needs to be facing the street front.
Yeah.
And so you can then take X amount of square footage off of the back of that unit. You can do res upstairs, you can do res in the basement. You just need to keep that street front component
Yeah.
commercial. And quite a bit of bylaws are written like that. So, it's a play that uh, not many people do, right? And right now in this environment, I feel like, yeah, you can go buy buildings that are already done pretty affordable, but I ask people to go look at commercial buildings and what they're selling for because there's, there's pretty darn good deals out there to be
Yeah.
looking for these types of commercial buildings.
Yeah, well, it's a friend of mine. It was the St. Thomas newspaper building. I don't know where it's at now or if he's finished, but even years ago, he told me he
Yeah.
bought it and I like walked through the place with him. Huge building, and he got it for like 400 grand, like
Hmm.
monstrously big.
Hmm.
And then I don't know how many he was putting in it. I think he was putting 20 units in it. But I mean, that can be quite expensive, right? You have to go through all the city approvals. I mean, I'm assuming you'd have water and sanitary connection that would be adequate, but they're going to want you to do all the testing, make sure that the building's suitable. You may have to remediate certain areas of the building if they were industrial use. In this case, this is just office space, so there would be no remediation likely.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously do your research, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to show the actual units themselves. So again, this is the building we're talking about as Andrew brought up on the street
Yeah.
view here. Um, so very typical kind of sideways positioned retail office type of layout here. Um, so historically, these doors were office units. Now they're actually residential units. Um, and then this is the finished quality of the units that have been done already. So this is the upstairs, second floor. These units are getting like this two-bedroom here is actually renting for 2050. So $2,000 50.
That's pretty crazy
So
nice unit.
you're
I mean, Simcoe, there probably isn't a lot of product like that, so
That's correct. Yeah, so this two-bedroom here is $2,000 50. That's actual lease. It's done. We have the lease agreement. Anybody who's interested, I'm happy to show that to them. The one bedrooms here, we're actually leasing those for 1750. So we're getting some
yeah.
pretty good rents, right? And that's the thing about these smaller markets in Southwestern Ontario is you're you're not far off from the Hamiltons, the Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloos, but you are buying them for less.
Yeah, you're buying them for a lot
Again,
less.
I know
There's a little bit of an arbitrage there.
we've talked about it a million times because it's something that I like to focus on is these smaller markets, but there's strong economic factors here. Like this town has been growing over the past 20 years. It hasn't come down. It's
Yeah.
it's a pretty good place to invest.
It's right in the
Uh,
tobacco belt.
Correct. Well, it's a big farming industry, right?
Yeah.
So these are very nicely done renos. Call them builder grade, condo grade, whatever you want to call it. In-suite laundry.
Mhm.
Um, right.
It
So they've
checks the
done,
boxes, that's for sure. I mean, it's not the
yeah,
nicest unit ever, but it is a nice unit, and
yeah,
it has the in-suite laundry is a huge thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's just a better shot of the exterior here. So again, upstairs we have 5 residential. We have 2 commercial on the main floor facing the street, and then we have 3 residential at the back of the building here. In the basement, there's additional commercial units, so commercial office space in the basement. Um, I've had some
Interesting.
people, yeah, I've had some people come to us and say, "Oh, aren't you concerned about, the basement rental? Are you going to get any money for it?" Um, Funny thing is that, yeah, we have tenants that we're working with right now, that want that basement unit. It's not huge rent. Um,
Yeah.
we're asking for $600 a month on some of those basement units, but again,
They
it's
have windows?
the basement does not have windows. No,
Yeah, a lot of office spaces don't have windows, but
no.
so you don't have to get a ton, but who would be the ideal client for that basement type thing? Is it like a mortgage broker, realtor kind of office, lawyer office or
So
something?
no, the realtors and the mortgage brokers we've actually been talking to about the main floor space, the unit
Yeah.
101 and 102, because that's street front. There's a signage exposure that lends itself to that a little bit more. The basements, we've had a couple tenants lined up. So one of them was he did like custom t-shirts. So he
Okay.
just wanted space to kind of store shirts, have a computer, send some stuff out. There was a like what's it called? there was like a Dungeon and Dragons club that was looking at it. So
I
like
got it. Yeah.
kind
So somebody who
of
just needs some space.
but
You're gonna find
yeah.
somebody who just needs some space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for 600 bucks a month all day long. So
Yeah.
all in all though, like again, our projections are our commercial projections, I think, are on the conservative side.
Mm.
Because you should do it that way. The residential projections are actual, so I'm not even gonna that's done, set in stone. Um,
As in they're all leased up, all the five that are done are leased.
everything that's done is leased, correct. And then the
Okay, and
main
then the
floor.
three in the main level need to be done yet.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So this is
Correct.
being sold in its current state, listed for sale?
It's being sold as is.
Mm.
The price is set to be sold as is. So you're coming in, you're getting a bit of a discount because that main floor is not built out, but the permits and the plans are already ready to go. So you can go in and basically set it up that the day you close, you're swinging a hammer to start finishing up those main floor units. Um,
Mm.
and we have a couple different financing structures here. So we do have financing lined up for somebody to come in as a bridge. Um, and so, Andrew, if you wanted to buy this, we could get you in as a bridge. Um, you can go through, finish your units, and then refinance it. Um, and we've actually run it two different ways. So we've run it as CMHC financing and we've run it as traditional financing.
Hmm.
So it works as a BRRRR with traditional financing, which is the crazy part.
Yeah,
Um,
that's sweet.
if you want to go CMHC, it's going to be BRRRR plus. So
Well, the commercial
different.
element kind of messes with your ability to go CMHC, does it not?
Uh, we've worked through this, so we're tight. We're on the cusp, but it does look like it's possible. But that's why we ran it as traditional financing as well, because we
Right.
said we have just in case it has to
Sure.
make it make sense as the one way, but we
Yeah.
do have the CMHC in our pocket to say, hey, if that works, we can go down that road.
And traditionally, mixed use would be 65% loan to value. Is that, can you get more in this case?
You can get more in this case, yeah,
What would you be
yeah.
looking at? 75?
I think we have it at 75.
Because I'm just going back to like when I did mortgage brokering, which was a while ago. And back then it was like, the standard assumption was 65 on mixed use,
Yeah,
whereas 75 on multifam. But I feel like those, right, there's probably some percentages involved if it's a less than a certain amount commercial or what have you. Um,
correct.
okay, so and just for like anyone watching, listening, for their knowledge, would they be able to speak? Like, do you guys have a mortgage broker who's already looked at this and said that,
Yeah,
or would it need to be looked at?
yeah. No, so we have a couple brokers we already went to, some lenders. This is fully set
Like
up.
ready to go, basically.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically deal in a box, right? And that's something that we've been working really hard with a lot of our listings, um, especially in this environment. We want you to step up and say, "Hey, I like this," and I want to say,
Yeah.
"Great, well, this is exactly how you can do it if you want."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I like
and
that you
so,
do that, right? That's pretty rare. I mean, I'm sure it's common among maybe more common among people who do the specific type of real estate you do, but not a lot of people who pitch an investment property as realtors really say that. Like they really get into, okay, here's how you do it. Oh, by the way, I already spoke to the mortgage broker. Here's my insurance guy. He's already quoted it.
yeah,
Like that kind of level of kind of paving the laneway, so to speak,
yeah.
obviously makes it easier. It reduces friction for these deals.
Yeah, and obviously, like if you just go and you look at one of our listings, it's not going to be a perfect deal in a box. But if you call us and we work through it with you, and I'm happy to work through with cooperating agents, we do it all the time where we show you guys, hey, this is exactly what we've done. We're here to sell buildings. We're not here to try to be selective on who buys and what
Yeah.
they buy. We're deal makers. So yeah, so this one basically the data that's online is very basic, very high level. It's going to be income, expenses,
Yeah.
NOI. But if anybody does want to know about the financing, what options we have, how do you burn your money, and what the rental costs are, we have all of that as well.
Yeah.
We're happy to share.
Do you have any of that that you can share on screen now? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know we often do have a spreadsheet, but I didn't ask you before we started.
Yeah, so I'll share the basic spreadsheet with everybody. But the more in-depth stuff I would prefer if non-disclosures were signed. There's just
Yeah.
names and private information in there, so I'd
Yeah,
like to
that's fine. Yeah.
keep that to
Yeah,
ourselves.
share what you're comfortable with. Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea. What's it, obviously what's the asking price for it, what you guys think it's gonna take to renovate it.
Yeah. So just opening up the spreadsheet. So here's our little brochure we've just done. This is again very basic, high level. But this is what we're looking at here, right? So we have So you have the commercial units here. So you got 101, 102, projected rent 2,500. You have the basement units projected around 1,600. Then here's your main floor and your second floor units. We did include vacancy rates. We have realistic expenses here. So we're looking at a net operating income of 170,000, 170. Asking price on this building right now is 1.550.
So 1,550 is what the ask is, and what's the monthly rent looks like is just shy of 20 grand projected. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Now this is obviously on stabilization, Andrew, once it's
Yeah.
complete, right? So this is your exit numbers,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're 170.
Yeah, yeah. I was just trying to calculate, is it 1% rule? And it looks like it's like 1.2% rule, so to speak, on completion as a stabilized
Yeah,
asset compared to what you're buying it for. Of course, at that point, you're adding some value to it.
that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. And what I don't know, I guess you've probably worked out what cap that is. What is you said it's 170?
Yeah, 170,000, 171.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as cap rate goes, just so people have like an idea, it's like over a 10 cap, like a 10, looks like a 10.9 is the asking price. So,
Yeah.
and
And
I just
so,
say that to like, like give a perspective of what stuff is trading at in cities, bigger cities, so that's where the discount you're talking about comes in, how it's cheaper in these smaller markets.
yeah, and obviously, Andrew, there's capital to continue. There's still money to go into this
There's
building to
money to
make
go in, right?
it
Exactly.
to
So
be.
so say there's, so say it's at 1,550 and you got to put in what, 300 grand? Is that a reasonable expectation?
Yeah, you're probably about 300 to finish it up there.
So
We have quotes from a couple different contractors. But
yeah.
again, I ask everybody if you're interested, let's go through. I'll show you the quotes. We can talk about it. Um, but I always like people to get their own quotes as well. I don't want to,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that makes
But yeah,
sense.
yeah. So obviously, just applying the incomplete
Yeah.
NOI to the asking price doesn't really make sense. A
No,
10
but if you
cap.
juice it up another 300 grand, then you're like more like a 9% cap.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
then
just
there's a
trying to
little
get
bit
an
of it.
idea of where it is
Yeah,
for those who might
yeah,
be curious.
yeah. No, but honestly, I think it's an absolute stellar deal. We've had a lot of action. We've been down there showing the building quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is obviously you need to have capital to buy, and then you need to have capital to renovate. So this is really good for somebody that's looking for that BRRRR, that traditional BRRRR. We
Mhm.
don't hear about that much anymore, but there's no tenants to have to deal with
Yeah.
here. It's you're stabilized. So it's a bit of an interesting spot
Yeah.
where this project is. Um,
Well, with that
but
said,
that's not a negative.
what do you figure
That's
the value is on complete? Like what kind of cap rate is an appraiser going to apply to it on complete?
Well, yeah. So I think on complete here, like if we take that 170, a cap rate in this town, you should probably be somewhere, I would say conservatively around a 575.
Mhm.
Like on an appraisal, might even be lower. Um, call it a six cap if you want to be
Which is like
super.
2.9 million if it's
Yeah.
1,575. So that's where the spread is. So I was just kind of getting like you're in for like a 9 cap, but if the appraiser's valuing it at a 5.75, then that's, everything in between is sort of gravy. And that's where if you're doing 75% of that at 2.95 mil times 0.75, that you're 2.2 financed. I mean, if you really are all in for 1,185 and you're getting, a loan for 2.2, you're pulling money out and putting it in your pocket.
Yeah.
So that's the beyond perfect burr.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying, right? And then that's again thinking traditional financing.
Yeah,
Um,
at 75%.
right.
Yeah.
So
Even at
it's
65%, that would probably work.
at 65%, like it's a pretty attractive play.
Yeah, at
Um,
65%, that still pays as long as you can keep under 1.9 million for your all-in cost. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great burr.
yeah. So pretty cool project. Hoping that some of our listeners, give me a shout on this one. I again, I have a more in-depth pro forma, which I'm happy to share with everybody. Andrew, I'll send you a copy as well. If we can find a way to actually insert it into this video, that would be great. But the challenge is that the in-depth pro forma is 4 slides explaining as is acquisition, right?
Hmm.
Cost to renovate, and then what your exit financing looks like. So it's a fair bit more complicated
Probably better that we save that for a follow-up if
For
at the end, at
one-on-one.
the end of
Yeah,
our one of
yeah,
our episodes we'll just stuff it in potentially if the building's still around.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it seems like a really cool deal actually. I mean the numbers seem to pop on this one, and then of course area-wise, I mean I was born in Tillsonburg General Hospital, and that's only like half hour from there. So I grew up in the Tobacco Belt.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like this is like these towns are growing, right? Tillsonburg is growing tremendously. Like, I keep meeting people from Tillsonburg in this industry and they're like, man, like it's growing huge. And same thing with Woodstock, same thing with Simcoe.
Yeah.
These smaller towns are growing.
Yeah, it weirds me out to go back and see it because I have the memory in my mind of what it used to be, and then go there and it's like,
Right.
wow, this is entirely different.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
cool. Well,
yeah, man. So this was again, short and sweet, kept it super high level.
yeah,
If you want to do a follow-up, I'm happy to actually share
sure.
all the info. Anybody who has some interest in this type of property, please reach out, whether it's this one or something like this. We can make something work here. There's a lot of opportunity on the market right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate how many different deals I hear you guys talk about, see from you guys just on the show, plus all the things you don't put on the show. Like you guys clearly have a lot of this type of stuff coming across your desk, which is why so many people are on the insiders list, the insiders club here for REI Hot Seat. Highly recommend that if you're a listener or a viewer of the show and you're interested in getting more involved and you want to eventually own some of your own stuff, or if you're already owning and you want to own more or sell, these guys definitely know their stuff, and I'd highly recommend them. So you can join, and it gets you in touch with Jake and the team, and it also gets you on the insiders list for private deals, deals that come across their desk that no one else has access to. It's going to give you a chance to see those too. Anything else you wanted me to say there, Jake, that would
Oh,
help
that's
spell out the
amazing. Yeah.
picture? Yeah.
And then hopefully you're back in Canada soon, Andrew, so we can get back in person here.
Yeah, we're gonna get back into the new studio. We got a new studio finishing up right now, and yeah, that'll be nice. I'm in no hurry to leave the warm weather, but at the same time, yeah, we'll get it in the works.
Right on.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Jake. We'll see you again
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.